Hi everyone. I'm a bit later today this week, but I'm here now for my Life or Biz Wisdom Facebook Live for the week. And what I wanted to talk to you about today was the importance of play. Now, as you know, play, I've got to check. Oh, okay. It's all right. Sorry about that. I got trying to connect message. I thought it was it must have been something with the internet. Anyway, so as you know, play is one of the theme days within the group, and by that I've tended to probably think about, or my thought about it is rest and relaxation. What do you do to switch off and that sort of thing? And that's certainly what I want to talk about today. But I also want to talk about how you can actually make your work more play as well. And the whole reason I thought about doing it this way, or for this particular Facebook Live, is because really interestingly, as I've been posting in other groups, I've noticed comments from some of, particularly women, in fact they've all been women, that when I've talked about how to the importance of switching off, of taking time for themselves and just taking time out, full stop, I've really been surprised by some of the comments. It's really sad, actually, I think, because some of them have sort of said, oh, look, I just don't have time. I put the kids first and then there's just no time for me. And I get that. I remember what that was like when my kids were younger, for sure. But when we've got our own businesses and that, if we don't do that, even if we don't, just in life in general, that idea that, we can't pour from an empty cup. So, a way that we can actually give time to ourselves is through play, and it has lots of benefits, which is what I want to be going on to now to talk about. So why do I want to focus on play to begin with? And why do I think it can actually lead to increased productivity and success in life, which is what I've called the Facebook Live? There's a good few reasons. First of all, play is actually lots of fun. It's a whole lot of fun. And the reason, I'm looking out to see whether someone's coming down my driveway, that actually should be enough reason on its own. But in terms of science, it means that our brains get to switch off. It uses a different part of the brain if we've been focusing on, something in our business or something at home that hasn't been play. It just allows our brain to have a rest from that sort of level of concentration. And also, when it's fun, it means that we're getting all these amazing endorphins, all these, happy, feel-good hormones, and they're definitely good for us. And, of course, another big reason for adding more play to our work and life generally is that it reduces our stress. Yeah, and that's a huge issue for a lot of us. And, as we're getting closer to the end of the year, it's like, oh God, everything's just, got to finish it by the end of the year. And I don't know about you, but it can definitely be really stressful time for me. So I've really wanted to and have identified the need for me to have play, much more in my life than I have done, unfortunately, for the last few years. So certainly stress is relieved when we play, because unless we're really, competitive, it's a really, tough game or something, you might get a little bit of stress then. But usually, particularly if it's play that that is perhaps not as competitive, is so much fun that it does release our stress, relieve our stress, and it's really positive, for that reason. Obviously, we all know about the issues that can come when we have, too much stress in our lives. The other good thing about playing is that it actually is a way that we can transition from one activity to another. So in productivity, we talk a lot about transitioning from the end of a cycle or a period of concentration and then beginning another one. So sort of working in chunks of time and being really focused in those chunks. And it's really important to switch off between those chunks to give our brain a rest. So when we're transitioning from something, it can be really good to actually do something that's playful. So, that's whatever you want it to be. It could be, it could be singing a song. It could be, if you're into drawing, doing some drawing or something. It could even be watching a funny thing on YouTube, It doesn't have to be anything that's going to, you don't want it to take too long, only sort of, maximum 10 minutes. But it's a really good way to switch in between and renew in between those longer periods of focus. The other good thing is that when we're playing, it of course opens up our creativity and our imagination. And that means that we're more innovative. We can think of great ideas when we're playing. And if it's not actually during that time, it opens up our mind to consider ideas that will come to us later on. And, creativity and also problem solving. It helps us to think outside the square or outside the box. And that's really important. So, in terms of productivity and how successful we are in our businesses and our lives, looking at of working through our problems and of coming up with lots of great ideas is really, really helpful for our, as I said, our productivity and success in our lives. What else? In terms of play, I think they're the main ideas that I thought of. Please, if any of you if you're watching this, Lise yourself doing it live, or anybody who's watching the replay, any other benefits that haven't covered that you can think of in terms of playing, please write them down. I'm also just reminding myself then of it's a great way to work through something, because we actually, when we're playing, in a way it's a type of, and I'm reminded with you being there, Lise, of mindfulness, and it can actually then help us to work through issues that we might have, because we're allowing our brain to switch off and focus on the playing, but it can actually be thinking or working through underneath, almost on a unconscious or subconscious level. And that's really good. If we continually work and don't have playtime, then that sort of thing just doesn't happen, or it doesn't happen as easily. Okay, so they're the benefits, the reasons that play is really, it's important to us, as I said, overall, but particularly around productivity and success. And then the next thing is, of course, why, how do we do it? And so, of course, I've talked about the need and the benefit of having the play as structured time, of actually timetabling it. So whether it's rest, relaxation, in terms of recreation, switching off, and whether it's actually play as in being childlike. Obviously some of us will be more comfortable with that than others, and that's entirely up to you. I invite you to bring more play into your life generally. And then if I'm talking then about actually your work, is, what can you do? And some of the things that I do are have colourful folders. Manila folders, I use those quite a lot, and I have actually realised how much I love colour and how playful that makes me be, and it lifts my spirits. So having those, could be coloured pens, pens with funny ends, can have, whatever, works for you in terms of playful pictures that you might have on the walls, that sort of thing. It's a really good way of because what happens is our mind takes it in, even if we're not conscious of it, of those associations around playing, and it can actually lift our spirits and making us, more open to being playful. Another thing that I really recommend, and I'm going to do a whole Facebook Live just on this, is the importance and the value of daydreaming, and how that helps us as well with coming up with new ideas, of allowing us to reduce our stress and actually change our focus, and how that can switch our brain and help us to actually look at, it's another way to be to be problem solving as well, because again, we might be daydreaming and we're a million miles away, or we're nowhere. Sometimes I'm not sure that I'm thinking when I'm daydreaming of anything in particular. I'm in a trance. It literally is a trance. And so then that does allow our subconscious mind to be working on other things, as I said, problem solving and that. And another thing that's related to that is, or similar to that, to daydreaming, is doodling. And I don't know about you, I find that I doodle sometimes in meetings. Doesn't mean I'm not listening. In fact, there's some research that says that when we doodle, we actually take in more, which is surprising, but really amazing. When I'm on the phone, I actually doodle. I do it almost automatically. I get a bit of paper and pen and I'm doodling while I'm listening to the person, and I swear it actually helps me think. And again, it unlocks different aspects of our brain, and is really beneficial in that way as well. And they're all forms of playing. Another thing with how to bring more play into our work is our language. When I'm working with clients, I don't talk about homework. See, that's how automatic it is for me. I just said home play. I don't talk about homework. I actually talk about home play. And of course, the emphasis then of the change from the wording of work and play. Similarly, I don't have worksheets in my workshops. I have play sheets, and I'm actually considering changing my workshops to be called play shops next year, which will be interesting to see how people respond to that. And that actually reminds me of a great quote that or phrase that I'd heard, and I'm not sure where the source was. I can't remember where I heard it, but how it goes is the opposite of play isn't work. The opposite of play is depression. And I think that makes a lot of sense. Because if we're not playful, then it's almost, I suppose, where the sadness and depression might come. So our language and how we talk about our work, if we can make it more playful in the way that we describe it, in, as I said, having colour, doodling, daydreaming. Another thing also is what is called inner child dates. I don't know if you've heard of this expression before. So I'm a big believer in our inner child, that we have a smaller version of ourselves, and I tap my chest because I think of it as being inside me, as in my little Helen, as I call her, and that our inner child stays with us the rest of our life and actually requires to be given some attention. And in fact, there's a school of thought that says that if our inner child is neglected, that's when we can have some issues. Some might say around depression or stress, and other problems that can occur, even to the point, and this might be a bit controversial, but even to the point of self-sabotage, that sometimes the thought is that our inner child can, if he or she is feeling neglected, actually, in a way, whether it's a tantrum, who knows, but the theory being that it can result in sabotage for ourselves. So there's a really strong belief in a lot of quarters that our inner child needs attention. And so going on inner child dates can be doing things, and they don't have to be formal, obviously, dates, but what I'm getting at is giving ourselves some time to do things like, bubble baths, actually blowing bubbles. I can remember I was fortunate to go to a retreat of joys a couple of years ago now, and we played hopscotch, and that was the first time I had played hopscotch for, I can't tell you how long, probably since I was a kid. And it was so much fun. And I'm sure my inner child was smiling well and truly. So again, you may not feel comfortable to do this. Only do what you're comfortable with. But I invite you to actually start to think about how you can schedule more formal times in your calendar for playing, as I said, rest, relaxation, whatever that means for you. And also making your work more playful, your business more playful, so that you are becoming more productive, because as I said, it's using different parts of our brain, it's reducing stress, it's opening up our creativity, our innovation, our problem-solving skills, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to leave it there, but I look forward to hearing your comments, any suggestions for how you can play more, any questions, any comments, just leave them in the comments section. And I look forward to, I don't know what I'm going to do next Monday's Christmas Day. I'm going to see about, will I get to do a Facebook Live? I'll work it out anyway. I will have an idea about that. Anyway, have a happy Monday for the rest of the day. Bye for now.